the plumber goes into this bathroom, and mind you, we're all sitting at the dining table that's maybe 10 feet away from this bathroom. And it sounds like construction. And the next thing you know, you look out and he has the toilet flipped out of the bathroom into the hallway on the floor. It was funny. Of the couple, the one that was a little more lighthearted and fun, he looks at me and he goes, "Do we get to laugh about this yet?" And I was like,
absolutely.
And I think everyone thought it was over.
We're back. Sometimes you just need a minute.
Oh, I needed a minute. It's been a little rough. I was just sharing with you. It's been a lot going on. But
you're a survivor and you're going to make it.
It makes me happy to be back here with you. And our super special guest today, I feel like it's finally time that everyone gets to meet my better half. This is my hubby. This is James.
Hello, I'm here.
He said so enthusiastically.
I said it before I got on. I said I'm very excited for this. So
it did make me giggle. He's standing here and he's like, "Do I need to do research?" And I'm like, "Have you listened?"
No. Well, because I love that a few people have said that. Like even Allison said that when she was on. She was like, "Do I have to do something for this?" And I was like, "No, don't worry, you're fine."
I'm just double checking. I like to be prepared, for God's sake, you know?
Exactly. And you know what? We appreciate the effort.
You're welcome.
I almost felt like setting in a requirement and being like, "Yeah, you need to research this like right now."
Could you imagine?
Although I think James is inherently prepared.
Yeah, it's in my wheelhouse too.
Yes.
So, what we're going to discuss, I think.
So the topic is beach rentals or summer beach rentals. And fun fact about James is that on the side, he does rentals in real estate. So he might know a little something about this.
So you're kind of an expert.
Sometimes I know some things. Just a schmuck sometimes, though. So
I'm excited to learn about summer beach rentals or just to see what it made you think of, Ryan.
I did some soul searching. And you know what's funny is like, I didn't come up with anything that I like. I thought about a number of like family vacations. Oh, well, actually, now that I said that, I did. Although I'm not going to talk about that. We had this one family vacation at a summer beach rental where my sister wasn't there. And she was not there because of a relationship that created a lot of drama in the family. I'm not going to say a whole lot more because she listens, and I'm not gonna talk about that crap. But it was also the same one where my mom found a note in my dad's wallet from the other woman.
Oh,
I didn't hear that story. The note in the wallet.
Whoa.
It was hands down like one of these. It was like the last family beach trip I think we've ever all taken together. I mean, well, because my family basically fell apart not long after. That's the only like real beach rental personal story that really comes to mind, and it's just negative. So I ended up going down there. I did my typical like research, and I focused on a beach town that's special to me, and I feel like that answer is going to end up being pretty obvious.
Venice in California.
Oh, how'd you know?
Exactly.
I love Muscle Beach.
Rhymes with ass.
Definitely nowhere in New Jersey. Yeah, I briefly thought about doing a family one too, because beach rental makes me think of one time when we went to the Hamptons and my mom discovered what Fireball whiskey was, because a bunch of college kids had rented the house right before us and they left all their like half drunk bottles of booze just in the freezer. And we were just like, ugh. And it was clearly like college kid alcohol, you know? It was like cheap vodka and then Fireball. And my mom was like, "What is this?" And Allison and I just started laughing and we were like, "That's Fireball." And she was like, "What's that?" And we were like, "Oh, you should try it." And so we did Fireball shots with Liz. And she was like, "It's not bad."
No, it's terrible.
Which I thought was very funny. But I decided to go in a different direction as well.
Like, I feel like it's an unpopular opinion. And maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Hamptons.
Nah, me neither.
I think it depends because there's a lot. There's what, east, north, south, southwest. There's a bunch of Hamptons, right?
The West Hampton is like, from my understanding, the least hoity-toity, if you will.
I thought the West Hampton was a very reasonable hotel chain provided by Marriott, no?
Which would never be in the Hamptons.
I got Bonvoy points there, I swear.
Okay, well, I'm curious to see now what your beach rental stories. Oh, but James, you get to choose who goes first.
Yeah, who goes first?
Ooh, I feel like I do listen a lot. I think Michael should go first.
Oh, yay, I never go first.
Yeah, see, that's why.
I know. I knew he was going to do that.
I chose right.
Thank you. I don't need to use my bitch be gone spray on you.
I'm a bitch, but I have a resting bitch face at times. So you could spray it on my face so the resting bitch face goes away.
That would be like doing nothing then. It would be like spraying mace at a New York City rat then. I feel like resting bitch would be like, spray it on, you know?
Everyone's like, why is James always so upset? I'm like, no, that's just his face.
He's just relaxing.
All right, you ready?
I am.
All right, ready, set, go.
Okay, I don't know if I can fit this in 10 minutes. We're going to see. So, summer beach rentals. Like I said, originally I was going to talk about my family stuff in the Hamptons. One time we went, brought our dogs. The dogs got out. We lost them for like a day. It was wild. No, but actually, I decided to go on a different route. Is a beach rental horror story, because I love true crime. So this is the story of Carla Lucia Stefanik, who had a really bad thing happen to her at her beach rental.
Do you know this person?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
I just found her story.
Stefanik, any relation to Elise Stefanik?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. So her name, she was born in Venezuela. I don't know her personally. I just came across her story. So she was born in Venezuela and then moved when she was 18 to Tampa with her mother and her brothers. Her parents, I think, were divorced. Her father stayed in Venezuela, but they had a very good relationship. She got a job eventually working in insurance, but her real love was travel. And she would travel in like social media. She wanted to be, I think, a travel influencer. So she traveled a lot, especially alone, and would always like really document it. Her other big love was her birthday. She always did big birthday trips. So when she was 35, going up to her 36th birthday, she decided to take a trip to Costa Rica with her sister-in-law, who's also like her best friend, this woman, April.
When did this happen? Just out of interest.
This happened, not that long ago. I want to say like 2017 or no.
Oh, okay. So like
after
really
2020,
recently.
like within the last few years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she goes to Costa Rica with her best friend and sister-in-law, April. She's having a great time. She's constantly posting on social media how much she loves Costa Rica. She wants to move there. So she decides to stay an extra day. Originally, she was supposed to fly home the day before her actual birthday, and they were going to do a little celebration at home. She decided she'd rather stay and fly home on her birthday. So she changed her flight to stay an extra day just on her own. So the day before, she drives April to the airport in their rental car, sends her off. She returns the rental car because the rental was up, takes an Uber back to a different Airbnb that she books called Villa La Mesa Apartments. Like a beach apartment, the little, like we get a little house basically in a little gated community. Apparently the Uber driver that drove her there, like they really hit it off. He agreed to like pick her up later and take her on a tour of the town. He took her shopping, brought her back. They were going to go to a jazz club later, but the weather got really bad. So she canceled. She did schedule him to come pick her up the next morning to take her to the airport. The family says as the night went on, her WhatsApps started to become fewer, but her last WhatsApps were just basically saying that she lost power. The storm was really bad. There was no drinkable water and she was getting really thirsty and she was going to ask the security guard to go out and get her bottles of water. And then her phone just stopped. And then the next day was her birthday. She wasn't answering any birthday calls, any birthday text messages, no birthday posts, which was really weird for her. Her best friend went to pick her up from her flight in Fort Lauderdale. She never got on the plane. So then the family calls Costa Rican authorities and they're like, where is Carla? Where's our daughter? And they were because they're very afraid of like hurting their tourism. They were like, oh, nothing. It's fine. People miss flights all the time. After like a day, they're like, something's very wrong. Costa Rican authorities still aren't doing anything because they don't want to hurt their tourism reputation. So the family turns to social media and they create a Where's Carla Facebook page, which very quickly went viral because she was gorgeous. Like she was in fitness. She was really curvy. She was tall, absolutely stunning. So the media picked up on this. They're like, gorgeous woman disappears in Costa Rica. So Costa Rican authorities are sort of like pressured into investigating. They go. It turns out the security staff and the owner of the place claim that they saw a dark car come pick her up at 5:30 in the morning with her suitcases to leave. And this is also like a day and a half later. Somebody's also already moved into her room. And that guest says like the room was immaculate, but there was a really strong stench of bleach and vinegar. And it was actually like really off-putting. But they were like, nope, she left at 5:30. And the family was like, this is insane. That's 8 hours before her flight. And she famously was late for everything. They joked she would be late for her own funeral. Like, never was on time. And then the Uber driver showed up at 8:30 and he was like, I came to pick her up as scheduled and she wasn't here. They told me she'd already left, which he thought seemed strange because he thought they were friendly. So Costa Rican authorities still aren't really doing anything. And the staff, keeps the story together that she left at 5:30. So her father and her brother-in-law, who's like another close friend, fly there together and they're pushing authorities. They finally get the FBI involved and they bring dogs to come and search. And they find the dogs zero in on one spot that wasn't cleaned where they find blood and bodily fluids.
Oh.
And then the family's not there, but then the dogs end up going to, this is 6 days after she's disappeared, by the way. The dogs 200 yards away find her body wrapped in a plastic sheet, pretty gnarly, like really decomposed because the weather had been really bad. She had been stabbed, like aggressively stabbed many times to the point where like it broke her spinal cord.
Oh.
And they said also like beaten, like severely beaten around the head, the arms, like she had a lot of injuries, but like the stabbing was like crazy violent. And they said because of bodily fluids, they think there was also a sexual assault as well.
Oh, Jesus.
So, but the authorities weirdly are very lazy about this. And the family, again, has to, go to social media and pressure them to do anything. Finally, this maid calls in and says she got a call from this one security guard whose name was, his first name is Bismarck Martinez was his name. Bismarck Martinez's mother-in-law had called the maid because they were friendly and said that she was scared for her life because he confessed to his wife, her daughter, that he had murdered a woman at the villa. So she's now afraid because her son-in-law's murderer. So they go and get him. Side note, he was an illegal immigrant from Nicaragua. Like he was there illegally already. And he was already kind of a sketchy dude. He was the security guard on call when she said, I'm going to go ask somebody for a bottle of water. Also, side note, the owner was wicked sketch. Turns out he had been shut down in 2020 because his permits were all out of date. And he had reviews for being aggressive and rude with people. And the staff agreed that he was like a really nasty guy. Anyway, authorities eventually arrest the security guard and they go to trial and they think what happened was he actually cut the power to her villa and went in saying that he would fix her light and tried to sexually assault her. They say that the family assumes that she fought back because she was big. She was 200 pounds. Like she was a tall, thick, really muscular woman. She really put up a fight. And that's why it was such a violent murder, because she was as big as him, kind of.
Oh, Jesus.
And that she like really put up a one hell of a fight. And they said during the trial, he was awful. Like he didn't think they were going to get him because they found there was DNA under her fingernails, but it didn't match him. So he figured he was going to get off, and his behavior in court was like horrible. Like he was grinning. He was like making faces at the family. And then they tested the bodily fluids and it matched his DNA. So he ended up getting found guilty, but the Costa Rican authorities really played it down. So he only got like basic homicide, not first degree murder, because they didn't want it to be bad for tourism. So he only was sentenced to 16 years in jail, max. And they never actually got the owner because they were like, he couldn't have done it by himself. She was a big woman and it was monsooning outside and he managed to drag her 200 yards into the bushes. So he must have had help, and especially cleaning the room. And they think it was the owner because when they questioned him, he couldn't keep his story straight. Like he claimed that he had never met her. Meanwhile, they said he was the one who checked her in. They said he had another interaction with her that they could prove, but he ended up only getting a $50,000 fine for like negligence for hiring an illegal immigrant. And that was all he got. And the villa, it's still open. They changed its name to Villa Buena Vista. And you can still go there.
Oh my.
And then that same week, 2 women from New York said that they had a similar experience, that they were there was a bad storm and somebody cut the power to their villa, and then a security guard came at 2 a.m. demanding that they leave so he could come in and fix the power, and they wouldn't let him in because they had read that a woman had disappeared. And then like obviously the next day they left and they were like, thank God we left, because that could have been them too.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That it was just, I don't know how much time I have. I went through it quickly because I was like, let me make sure I have enough time. There were all these things, like the guest who checked in the next day literally said he saw that security guard washing a pair of women's sneakers, like in an outdoor sink.
That's some crazy.
Isn't that yeah. And that's the story of poor Carla Lucia Stefanik.
I feel like this would make a hell of a documentary.
Yeah, it would.
I know. I didn't find a documentary. I just found a lot of news articles and like YouTube videos.
Well, Ryan loves documentaries.
I know. I was like, there's got to be a true crime. No, I literally just Googled summer beach rental murder true crime. And I was like, there's got to be. And I went through a couple, but hers, I was like, okay, this is wild. And her poor father, he said like they came there and they were looking for her things. And he was like, little did I know she was laying 200 yards away. And like, oh, it's so sad.
Oh.
That's why you have to check your reviews and do your research when you go and find your vacation rental.
They said the reviews were actually really bad when you've had, they were just buried because Airbnb kind of buried them. And it did cause a whole thing with Airbnb of like, you should really vet your places better.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
but, I mean, their defense was they can only do so much. And that was basically their thing. They were like, Brr.
They're not regulated like real estate agents are. Real estate agents are held to a much higher standard. I'm not a fan of a lot of other real estate agents because they don't act like they should sometimes. I mean, a lot of them follow the code of ethics. The National Realtors Association has a code of ethics that you have to follow, and it's great they have it. And the states have their own set of rules too. So if you want some more surety and you want some better, backing on it, if you will, use a realtor because they're.
So that's your advice to females traveling alone.
Yes. Not trying to sell realtors, but like Airbnb doesn't have to follow the same standards. So if you want a vacation rental and you're doing it for a longer period, I would always go with a realtor if you don't know the area.
You've ended up making me think about some stories that actually I can share now. Is it why did murder trigger this for me?
James, take notes.
You know what? Maybe I'm gonna take a quick diversion and I'll tell a couple stories now.
Oh, okay. Listen, it's your 10 minutes.
I have to, yeah.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. And go.
I have a whole bunch of history on kind of how the idea of going to the beach and being in a house at the beach started. Maybe I'll go through it really quick. It actually started with the Romans, and the Romans would have beach villas in Pompeii and Herculaneum. Did I get that right?
Herculaneum,
right? They would leave the cities.
We're always doing this, by the way. Me correcting him on spelling and pronunciation. Doing that a lot.
That's why you have a partner.
But it was funny, post the Romans and the fall of the Roman Empire, nobody went to the beach to have fun for 1,200 years. And it wasn't until the 1700s that British doctors basically started to push sea bathing as a remedy for many ails. You had gout, go to the sea. You have skin issues, go to the sea. And I guess there's some truth in that because salt water is actually good for your skin. It was funny in the 1700s, while the words that were put down is that it became morally acceptable access. And it was because they had these things called bathing machines. And essentially what they were was a little hut on wheels. So you would go in your full regalia, your heavy dress or whatever. You would go into your little beach hut. You would change into your woolen bathing suit. And then they would push the little house out into the ocean, and you would step off the stairs and be able to bathe for whatever period of time that you wanted, and then go back in the little house, change back over, and then they would pull you back into the shore. So, God forbid anyone see your shoulders or ankles. It's then in the 18 and 1900s that resorts started to pop up. So like Cape May was one of the ones that was listed. Asbury Park was founded in 1871. That's where we are now, a very well-known Jersey Shore beach town. And this was driven by the railroad boom, So it made it easier for people to traverse from places like Philadelphia, New York, etc., and be in the various shore towns that were here. And really, the whole thing had its biggest boom post-World War II because the GI Bill created upward mobility. So there were, better jobs and more money. Cars were everywhere, so easier to get around. And then really the 80s and 90s led to where we are today, which is, basically it's like a real estate gold rush. Everyone not doing it just to have a place at the shore, but also because it's a good investment and provides rental income. And then in 2008, we got Airbnb, which kind of changed like the entire market. Like we had talked about it a little bit before, and this is where I'm going to go off script and share some other stories. But basically, the area that we're in the New York City metropolitan area. I would argue that there's really two key places, 3 key places where people from the metropolitan area go to the shore or go to the beach or do beach rentals to get away.
I'm curious because I may have a differing opinion.
It's the Hamptons, which we already talked about, Fire Island, and the Jersey Shore.
Fire Island?
Yeah.
That's where the gays go.
Some straight people go there now.
Yeah, there are plenty of straight people that have places there. I mean, it's absolutely a place for summer beach rentals.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I guess you're right. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
So this made me think of like prior to having our place at the shore here where we live now, we would go to various other places in people's homes. And this makes me think of this incredible trip that James and I took to the Hamptons.
James, do you know what the trip of which he speaks?
Yes. And it involves a toilet.
Oh.
So I
will preface. Moral of this story is beware of what you flush.
So we're invited up to I want to say it's like 4th of July weekend that we're invited to go up. Yeah, I think it was. It was 4th of July weekend.
It was.
We're invited to our friends' homes in the Hamptons. And like, we're like gracious guests. So we like buy up a whole bunch of liquor and different foods and things to take. And like, we're there. We were supposed to be there like Thursday through Sunday. We're there with a group of their friends. And I don't know if you remember this, James, but like I want to say of the couple the other couple that was there, one of them was like really cool and the other one was very stuffy. And
yeah.
But of course, leading up to the 4th of July, the weather was absolutely shit. So we couldn't be in the pool. We were crowded around in the dining room, like playing board games at the table. And of course, this one ventures off to go use the restroom and does not choose to go to the restroom that's like upstairs and proximate to the room that we're staying in. No, he chooses to go to the one that's basically in the hallway next to the kitchen, next to the dining room. I suddenly start to realize that something is wrong when he doesn't come out. And basically, I kind of go over to the door and I'm like, babe, are you okay? And he opens up the door and he's like, Ryan, it's like backed up. It's like really backed up.
For the record, at that point, I was like, I knew it wasn't me. I didn't really give a shit. No pun intended.
Well, clearly you did.
I mean, I did give one, but I didn't give a shit. But like, it was clearly backed up before. But I'll let you finish the story.
Okay, so it's not your fault.
No,
and I agree. I don't think it was James's fault. I do think it was something prior to him. But like, I'm like, oh my God, I've got the plunger, and I'm like, it will go. I'm like, I was determined to get it to like clear water at the very least.
It wasn't a big one, so it was pretty. I mean,
I'm embarrassed. I'm like hyper embarrassed, and I have to give it to James. James is like, this happens, like whatever, and I'm like, I've got to go tell the host that their toilet is now in the main part of the house is no longer functioning. So like, I walk out, and I think I find Patrick, and I'm like, hey, we clogged your toilet, James. Like, it's clogged. I can't
wrong
get it.
Choice of words. You should say your toilet is clogged.
Whatever. Who knows what I said, actually. I'm just going off of what I barely remember at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick's like, oh, well, it's a holiday weekend. There's no way we're going to get a plumber out here. It's going to be impossible. And he's like, on top of it all, it's going to be ungodly expensive. I guess it'll just have to wait. Well, an hour later, a plumber pulls up, and I'm like, oh God. And the plumber goes into this bathroom, and mind you, we're all sitting at the dining table that's maybe 10 feet away from this bathroom. And it sounds like construction. And the next thing you know, you look out and he has the toilet flipped out of the bathroom into the hallway on the floor.
You have to get off the floor, yeah. Because you got to get in there with the snake. Yeah.
I am like mortified. I'm probably like sweating. And like, there's like banging and it's like insane. And it was funny, of the couple, the one that was a little more lighthearted and fun, he looks at me and he goes, do we get to laugh about this yet? And I was like,
absolutely.
On top of like working with them, like we didn't know them that well. Like we knew them well enough, but like I was like, good, they're gonna go back to work and be like, yeah, Ryan blew up our fucking house. But like the plumber came and apparently he went down into the basement and actually determined that the clog was somewhere much further down the pipe and ends up tapping the pipe wherever the thing was, and it loosens and you could literally hear all the drains in the house go like the whole house was clearing. And then it was kind of like over, although it continued to be a little bit awkward. So the next morning they got up with their friends and they went to brunch like without us. Although I think they were going to brunch with the friends' parents or something like that. So I'm not really sure it was like appropriate for us to go anyway, but it did kind of feel like they ditched us. But I have to say, you and I like put on our bathing suits. We figured out how the pool audio worked and we hopped into the pool and floated around and they arrived and there we were floating in the pool. Actually, I saw the picture the other day of us floating in the pool. But the whole thing was so traumatic that the night of the 4th, like we looked at each other and like it felt weird and it felt awkward because I think it did get a little weird and a little awkward. And I'm like, if we just go home this evening, we won't face any traffic tomorrow. And James is like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. I'm like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Between the traffic and you being uncomfortable, yeah, like it was in the right mind to go. But like, honestly, I knew it wasn't fucking me. And that tap on the drain way down was like, yeah, like I didn't really care. Because if it was me and I did take a huge one and did stuff it up with something, then I probably would have felt worse.
But you knew it wasn't your fault. In fact, you did them a favor.
Unfortunately, though, like that's not how it works. Like you don't get to be the last guy in the restroom and not be like, I didn't do it. Like, in other words, I agree. I don't think you did it. But like, unfortunately, you're the guy that got stuck with it.
Hey, you get dealt a shitty hand sometimes in life, right?
Did you work hard on that one?
Sometimes I think of good things, as I said.
And actually, to this day, we'll still be like, hey, James, are you headed to the Hamptons?
Yeah, I guess they don't know how to use toilets out there in the Hamptons properly. It's only like pee, poop, and your toilet paper that should be going in there. Maybe sometimes the other bodily fluids if it's bad, but still, like, or it's that time of month, but nothing else should be going in there.
More advice for people who are renting places, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't and actually, landlords...
flush nothing but toilet paper.
Yeah, landlords would charge people for that if they have to go out. Like, I had a landlord once in Jersey City. The person was flushing wipes and tampons, and the plumber pulled them out of the drain, and it was like within their apartment, their section of the drain, and they charged him a couple $1,000s for it. So if you're a renter, don't do that. Make sure it's what I said that should go in the toilet.
That is one of the most disgusting things to me. Like, I can't deal with the concept of extracting something out of a drain. Like, I feel like once it's in the drain, it's just like, it's untouchable at that point. Like, and I have deep respect for plumbers that deal with this stuff on a daily basis because I would barf.
Well, that's why you have me. I mean, we have several friends and family that use our homes and come over and stay with us, and the drains get clogged with hair, like in the the tub in the shower. And
he does it, and then he's like, "Come look at this," and I'm like,
You think about it too much. See, you're dwelling.
You're dwelling, Ryan. You're dwelling on it.
Well, James, you've got the hard part.
Oh, I know. I do have the hard part, but it's pretty easy, though. I think in this instance, I think you win, Rye.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's that story is epic. Despite the murder story, that's pretty. But the poop story, the toilet, yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
I kind of knew a poop story would win with James, kind of like how you knew.
We had my friend Alyssa on, and I know that she loves Starlight Express.
Yes.
So I cheated and just talked about that. Oh, also real quick, I forgot, Carla, just to make sure I have it all correct, she was murdered in 2018.
Oh, gosh.
Still, that's fairly recent. That's
it's pre-pandemic.
So, James, what's our next topic? What are we talking about next week?
Yeah.
Ooh, I have a lot of ideas in my mind. I really do. I'm going to stay away from STEM. She's did a lot of STEM in the past, so I'm stay away from that. I was thinking along the lines of food. We're going to do one of Ryan's favorites, actually, babka.
Yum.
Oh my God.
I figured you'd enjoy that too.
Do you like cinnamon vodka or do you like chocolate vodka?
Cinnamon is the best. I've yet to come by a chocolate that's like really good. Like, or you could, the sister dessert is like rugelach, right? So chocolate rugelach usually is better because it's not like, it's more proportioned.
Well, thank you, James. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Of course. You too. Love you both.
No, I love you too.
Oh, ugh, gross. Gross.
I know, right?
Gay. We'll be back for Babka. Ugh.
So gay. Ugh.
Ugh.